Typical operation. Must you open a bank account? You need a business checking account to exercise your right to contract fully. Unless you have previously opened a bank checking account for your corporation, partnership, or LLC, as soon as you have obtained your new federal tax identification number, open with a bank of your choice a checking account in the name of your corporation, partnership, or LLC, or in the name of your new LLC. This is your non-private business bank account. Must you hire employees? If you truly plan to hire employees and take on the various obligations of a payroll system, you will save yourself and your business many great tangible and intangible costs by shopping around and hiring a professional employer company or personnel leasing organization. The right company will relieve you of all tax and administrative burdens as the employer and treat those who provide labor to your company as their employees in return for a single, all-encompassing contract payment per period. If such a company cannot be found, with the result that the employees and the responsibility for tax payments remain yours, you will simply need to find the best price for payroll services. At least you will be relieved of the administrative burden. PayrollForFree.com LLC provides free payroll and monthly, quarterly, and annual local, state, and federal tax reports for companies with no more than 25 employees. The company also provides submission of tax forms and payments in your behalf for a tiny monthly fee. Lifestyle maintenance. So far, this session has explained generating additional streams of income through lawful avoidance and reduction of federal self-employment tax and state and federal income tax. Now it will explain generating additional streams of income through reduction or even complete avoidance of interest costs, as well as any other unnecessary or excessive costs. The second of the three principles for achieving financial prosperity is efficient application of the Rule of 72, the first part of which is plugging the drain for interest expense that can be avoided. The Tax and Interest PowerPoint audio presentation and Excel spreadsheet workbook accompanying this session will help you calculate your tax and interest costs from today and thereby help you recognize the enormous cost of taxes and interest without a plan to avoid them. As you gain appreciation for this, you will be wise to reduce any other unnecessary or excessive costs that also diminish your ability to accumulate wealth, the largest of which can be devastating to your financial prosperity. If you are a young person and have not already burdened yourself with credit card debt, consider this. Say you are earning $25,000 and bringing home just over $21,000 a year after federal income, Social Security, and Medicare taxes, not considering state income taxes. So you can spend just over $21,000 a year on yourself, right? Well, what if you start using credit cards? With responsible behavior, specifically never overspending your credit limit and never missing a required payment, you could eventually develop a good credit rating and qualify for low interest rates. Even so, you would add to your other living expenses interest and principal payments on your debts. However, although you might consider that it is best practice simply to pay your balances in full each month, while this would, much to your benefit, eliminate the related cost of interest, it would not result in a good credit rating since you would not be carrying debt relative to your credit cards. If you used your good credit score and low interest rates to qualify for increased credit limits, and if you accessed these new limits, even with continued responsible behavior, you would add to your other living expenses more interest and more principal payments on your debt, reducing the amount of money you have to live on after you make these payments. If you maintained this situation throughout your life, not only would you have less to live on, you would endlessly perpetuate your inability to accumulate wealth. From another perspective, using revolving credit only temporarily increases your spending ability. Sooner or later, you must live within your means. But it is much easier and less stressful to live within your means without using revolving credit. Mathematically speaking, you are just better off without revolving credit and the related interest expense, which perpetuates your inability to amass sufficient wealth and truly enjoy life, free of the frustrations of poverty. If you truly do have the discipline and self-control to pay your credit card balances in full each month, you can avoid the trap and temptation of revolving credit by simply using your bank account debit cards to make your purchases as necessary. What if you need to build good credit? If you are concerned about building good credit, you can do so by carefully managing and making timely payments for other necessary credit, such as loans for vehicles and homes. In fact, making frequent payments on these necessary loans will both increase your credit worthiness and decrease your actual cost of interest. For example, if your mortgage payment is $600 a month, a week after your next timely monthly payment, start making $150 payments each week. This will both satisfy your obligation to the mortgagor and reduce the amount of principal earning interest each month. In the end, you will save literally thousands of dollars in interest without increasing your monthly payment 1 cent. On the other hand, increasing your weekly payment just a little, say from $150 to $155 or even $160, will even further decrease your actual cost of interest. Either way, you will be able to pay off your mortgage significantly sooner and turn your monthly mortgage payments into contributions toward your wealth accumulation strategy. Before you begin this strategy, ask your mortgage loan officer to verify that frequent or excess payments will be instantly applied to the principal of your loan balance rather than to an escrow account. Also ask the mortgage loan officer to provide projections based on increased frequency and size of payments. What if you need credit cards for emergencies? If you are concerned about having credit cards available for emergencies, consider some tendencies. In our convenience-oriented society, people tend to apply the term emergency to many things that are not life-threatening or even lifestyle-threatening, not considering whether each need is based on an actual emergency or just a very strong craving. And this perpetuates their suffering in the world of revolving credit and interest. When they reach their absolute maximum credit limit with impulse and emergency buying, they tend to trap themselves permanently in the only lifestyle that can be maintained with maxed out credit cards and minimum required payments. They also tend never to have any credit card spending limits available for actual emergencies. And they also tend to spend on interest and unnecessary purchases all of the money they could have saved for retirement. By avoiding revolving debt, you will avoid this trap and save tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest expense and possibly generate millions for yourself with that savings and easily address any actual emergencies if and when they ever arise. So you could spend all of your money and then spend all of your credit limit and then spend all of your tax savings, but then you would have nothing to live on when you reach the point that your health prevents you from working to make more money you can spend. Or you could discipline yourself to live within your means, apply the remaining recommendations to generate many additional streams of income, and accumulate sufficient wealth to generate an annual six-figure tax-free interest income for the rest of your life. Obviously, it is only practical that you learn to live within your means at some point. The sooner you do, and the sooner you apply the remaining recommendations, the sooner you will find yourself making amazing progress toward your financial prosperity goals. You may be able to generate additional streams of income through reduction of your other unnecessary or excessive costs, such as, for example, subscriptions of any kind from which you are not truly benefiting. Do not overlook shopping around for the best prices for home and auto insurance and other necessary expenses, as well as the lowest possible interest on absolutely necessary loans. The lower you can reduce your costs, the more you will be able to enjoy your life without frustrations. Conversely, the higher your costs, the more difficult and frustrating your life will be. If you are already a business owner, you can reduce your excessive business costs as well. Professional accounting services are available to you for very low monthly installments. Email your first name, state, phone number, and the best time to reach you with assistance in this regard. Advantageous application. What are you accomplishing so far? With this keystroke-specific instruction and guidance, you are equipping yourself to establish lawful means of avoiding taxes not required by the actual language of the law and enforcing your private, lawful behavior without dealing with lawyers or courts of law. Let us review. Your second step is to begin generating additional streams of income for consistent accumulation of wealth. Add to your strategy a specific plan to avoid waiving your right to make your own determinations of law with regard to whatever taxes the actual language of the law requires you to pay. A specific strategic tax plan to reduce and avoid the costs of state and federal income taxes, and a specific plan to reduce or eliminate interest, subscriptions, insurance, and other expenses to generate at least 9 additional streams of income. As you apply the recommendations, besides the negligible course fee, all you will spend is a little for your LLC, unless you have already incorporated or organized, and a little more for your privacy. A total of very little, considering that you could spend easily 50 to 100 times that, and that your reward will be an annual 6-figure tax-free income for the rest of your life. What do you need to do? If you are not already registered as a corporation, partnership, or LLC, register as an LLC and treat it as an S corporation for tax purposes. If you have not already opened a corporate or LLC bank account, open one now. With the third session, you will begin implementing the sub-steps for enhancing your privacy and security.